lots of good people involved. Go give it a go. And, go give our racers a follow. And we are seeing the standard menuing. Ooh. 7 has Blitz, Natural Blitz, and Terra has Throw. Throw is an amazing command, and Terra's an amazing character, so that's quite a good start for her.
Yeah, definitely. Looks like our runners are headed off to the usual starting spots. The returners hide out Narsh to raid the treasuries to find some of the items that they will hopefully be able to start out pretty quickly.
Yeah, I saw a Mega Elixir in one of those chests in the returner's hideout. Jack doing his usual thing of going straight to the checks. But in this case, it being the sealed gate, there's a treasure room right on the way. And that Narsh treasure room, also pretty nice.
Yeah, absolutely. Just saw some Marvel shoes come out of there, which is a pretty good pickup.
Marvel shoes and an ice shield. It was good. But yeah, we do have a Pearl Lance up there for Jack, a Ragnarok up there for Jack. This is a very kind start for our racers here. Dried meat getting picked up for Lock Coal Live. Very useful if one finds Gao. Shuriken, the base throwing weapon there, $5,000 a piece. That's not helpful. But, with that Ragnarok, probably not going to be relying on throw too much for a while.
That is definitely true, and that's one of the things that you can see with the prices being scattered as they are here. The throwables can be expensive, and especially any of the consumables that you want or have can be expensive. So that Mega Elixir you were mentioning earlier, well, it could quite literally be worth its weight in gold in this seed.
It could also be worth 1 GP. That is the thing about the random prices. Sometimes you sell a tonic for 30k. And then use it to buy 30 Mega Elixirs. It's a bit of a different strategy you have to keep in mind for that.
Yeah, I was going to say, a tonic for 30 Mega Elixirs sounds like a great trade to me.
I would take it, absolutely. Seeing, I did not see what the price was on that thing in Tizen, but we do have Lockcole exploring that area, and Jack finding the Yeti in the sealed gate. 27k for whatever was in Tizen, apparently. And we do have an equipable Umaro, so, they have found some decent weapons. If he can equip one of them, that's going to be some heavy damage for the start of the season.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Especially since the characters are not starting out naked. That Umaro will come equipped, I believe, with a Snow Muffler, which is one of the best armors in the game. So that simply adds to the appeal of the big white fluffy.
Yep, he has an attack that ignores defense that he does randomly, and he just has a ton of strength, so he can get you through some high defense early bosses pretty handily. Just on his own, especially with that Snow Muffler, which gives him, as you can see, quite high defense. Thunder Shield there that Boo picked up. I did not see Jack get that chest. He usually doesn't.
No, Jack did not get that one.
And we're seeing Zelfer checking out Seth Figaro. Another standard move. Lock finding Fixed Dice and Albrook. Another very good early game weapon. Again, ignores defense. Yeah,
absolutely. Especially this early on. Yeah, Fixed Dice can really save you a lot of trouble.
Yep. I know Jack is not a huge fan of them for large portions of the game. I am also not, but at the start and towards the middle, they can get you out of some serious trouble.
Yeah, I've grown to feel that way as well. I mean, at the beginning of the KGP, I used the Fixed Dice a lot, even in later game situations. But I can see now that I've gotten a bit more experience under my belt, that, yeah, I think they lose a fair bit of their utility later on, because your characters get strong enough with good enough weapons that they can just be a lot more consistent with regular weaponry rather than just taking a risk like that.
More consistent and faster, and that is an Esper for sale in World of Balance Tizen. Yeah, a lot of people will take the offering and the fixed dice right through to the end of the game. But if I find, a couple decent weapons and a Genji glove, I'd much rather use that personally. But, there are always seeds where I'm going to do that. Warp Stone's being bought for $36,000 there in Tamasa. For Locke. Tamasa, one of those places that has had treasure chests added back in that weren't originally present in the randomizer for reasons. So it has become a place that people have started going to recently for early game looting. Force armor in another barrel. Yeah, lots of good treasure getting thrown at our racers today.
Yeah, this is definitely a good start as far as that goes. I see Jack has decided he's going to have himself a good old time with an octopus up on the screen.
Yep, and being Jack, he will probably throw everything in his inventory at it because it's Jack. Oh, no, he has decided attacks are better. I guess he doesn't have that many non-endgame weapons yet. Fixed dice being picked up by Boo. Also looking through Albrook. Earrings for sale for Locke. I think I saw those somewhere else, but he actually bought some. And down goes Ultros, which I believe was the nurse check. So we'll see what the reward is there. Tarato, which teaches Ice 3. Very good spell indeed.
Yeah, that's a good pickup for Esper.
Ravlin also saying that Boo has found experience eggs. That's probably why he's selling everything in his inventory. And indeed, 4 experience eggs purchased. That's going to be quite an advantage if no one else does that.
Oh, and that was an Albrook too, which we've seen, I believe, a couple of the other runners go to, and I don't remember seeing any of them pick those up.
Yes, Locke definitely went there. I don't recall if Zelfer did, but no, nobody bought them as far as I saw. They just looked at the list and skipped out of there. Might go back for them later. We will see. Zelfer getting that one chest that I basically forgot existed. I mean, I know it's a thing. Oh, and actually going for the secret underground treasures. These are always the same treasures. They are not randomized. They're also not the things they say they are, weirdly. But this is about the only case in which I can see actually stopping to find those being useful, and that's because they might sell for a stupid amount of money. And more than getting money out of fights, you're mostly going to get your cash in a random prices seed from selling just stuff. Any stuff.
To be perfectly honest, I don't think I knew those existed.
I've known they've existed for a while, not before I entered into this rando community. And I still could not tell you where they are. That's the first time I've ever seen anyone actually get them. And the Imperial Camp has yielded an Esper of Phoenix for Jack, apparently. I missed that, but we do have Mildane working on the tracking in the background, filling out the sheet for those quick old checks that are easy to miss if you're looking away for a minute. Jack now checking out the train. Not a character. It is Genji armor. He's going to reset out of that. One of the few checks in the game you can check the reward for before completing it. Locke going for that side chest. Possibly the only chest in the game I would say I never get. It takes a long old time to get out of that area.
Yeah, that one's one I typically don't go for either, so good on him for checking it. Unfortunately, it didn't look like it was too much to get excited about.
Well, it might sell for an amount. Again, with the random prices, you go for more chests than you normally would. Or at least most people do. And we see the return of Ultros 1 for Jack. This time in a more appropriate environment, not swimming through stone, but swimming through rapidly falling water, which is, I guess, easier.
Well, I would certainly hope so.
Locke also going for another chest that I would normally skip out on, although I do see lots of runners get that one in particular. It's mostly just that one in the lava room that almost everyone skips out on. And Tomasa being looted there by Zelfer. Boo. Going to the Imperial camp, gonna find himself an Esper. Jack approaching the reward for that waterfall. By drifting drownedly down a river. Oh, Locke fighting an actual fight. Finding Alexander for Jack. Another Esper to add to the pile. Fire 3 and Life 2. Even the Espers are being nice today.
Well, I would say I am definitely happy for the runners that that's working out for them.
Absolutely. I'm curious whether Locke forgot to take his Moogle Charm with him or removed it and then forgot to put it back on. Or did it deliberately. I said the same option twice there because I'm a genius.
Well, it looks like that's the switch that you open up and you get the thief jumping down on you, so I would presume...
it was the ninja check. Boo also doing the Imperial camp. Jack running through Sen. And Jack finding a behemoth suit in the first chest. Another great piece of armor. Dragoon boots. I know Boo will be happy if he finds those. And it looks like Zelfer is now looting the other South Figaro. Another recent-ish addition to the game. With one of the... I mean, it's hard to say how recent things are in this game because it gets updated so often. But it's been around for a couple months, basically as long as the KGP. And now you can loot both versions of South Figaro. They have different chests in the outside barrels, etc. But not on the inside. Jack finding another non-character reward. As Locke picks up his Umaro. And it's another Magicite for Jack. Unicorn in this case. Zelfer there, picking up a pot that most people don't generally seem to know exists. In the bottom of the Cider Man's house. Looks like Jack is going to be selling off stuff to buy the twice as expensive World of Ruin version of this Esper here in Tizen.
Yeah, I was about to say, that price looked to be in the 50 or 60,000s, and we know it's in the 20s in balance, so I'm guessing he just hasn't made that check yet.
No, Jack tends to run straight for checks and do very, very little side exploring. And we are seeing Zelfer there now going to Zen as well to do that check. And Jack finds Ultima with a Magic +1 Esper. I think he's good for the rest of the game. Yeah, let's throw Ultima and Umaro to hit things. You're pretty set. So we are seeing Zelfer doing a similar check. We will see if he picks up the Esper there as well. I believe he checked the other to Zen, so probably he'll leave it alone here for a while. And Jack may have gained a big ol' advantage. And Locke going through a Narsh, World of Balance. Boo checking it, a monster in a box in the Narsh training house. It's just a Telstar. But that does get you a green beret, which is a remarkably good hat. In as much as most of the hats in this game are garbage. Jack now going for Mobliz. Oh, and sorry, the reason green berets are good is they give you a health upgrade and also 10 physical evade. And there's like 5 hats in the game worth wearing at all. The rest are just, yeah, it's a thing you put on. Yeah, seeing those experience eggs on everyone on Boo's screen is quite amusing to me. Jack noping out of that Mobliz check. I did not see what the reward was, but it must have been an item. Another one of the checks you can gather information on before completing. Now he looks like he's running to Format Colts, whilst Boo gets ready to fight Ultras.
It's worth noting the Mobiliz reward was Tri-Talk.
Oh! Perhaps he just feels he already has enough Espers and doesn't want to waste time on unnecessary things yet. Boo throwing fire at the octopus. He's generally not a fan of that. And it looks like we're going to see another Ultros fight here in a moment for Locke. I wonder if he'll actually go up to Kefka and Harsh. One of the least popular checks in the game.
Yeah, that one does take a little bit to get to, but generally what I will do is I'll check that when I'm in the middle of trying to do the MOG check there.
Yeah.
Just go ahead and grab that information while you're at it.
Yeah, if I don't have Terra or MOG, Kefka and Harsh is last on my list of places to go. I did see Life 3 and Berserk on that Phoenix Esper. This is a very Ultros heavy seat.
Don't tease the octopus, kids.
Well, I guess they've been making fun of him a bit too much. Minerva's for sale for $3,000 for Zelfer. Where is he? Is that an Albrook again? Oh, World of Ruin Albrook. Yeah, so that's his defense sorted out, assuming people could wear them.
Well, this seed giveth plenty. I wish I'd had this good of stuff in the practice seats that I ran today.
Wall rings for 2K. It seems like everything that is important is cheap. Boo about to take a running jump off of that. Oh, we are seeing Kefka and Harsh, I guess. Yeah, Boo about to fight Ultros 1 again. Yeah, and Zelfer finding those fixed dice that several other people found in the World of Balance. Yeah, they're in Albrook as well. People are mentioning that in the chat. Jack has himself a dead Yeti. And this is one thing about finding all these Ultroses that is very bad. He doesn't really give experience or gold or MP. So he's almost as bad as a free check. Possibly worse, because you have to kill him. And Jack resetting out of that as he was having difficulties.
Yeah, unfortunately, I think the dead Umaro pretty much did that one in for him.
Yeah, Umaro was going to be his primary damage dealer, but he does have access to Ultima. You know, if he took 2 fights and ground it out, he'd probably have it. It is X16 or something stupid.
Yeah, it looks like he is deciding to go ahead and do the Mobilize check. Meanwhile, Locke has chosen to take on Kefka at Narsh.
Yep, and Zelfer appears to be grinding out a couple fights in World of Ruin Narsh, which is not a terrible idea in Progress 3.
Oh, not at all. Generally, that's what I'll do as far as trying to get levels, just to make sure that my party is good to go before assaulting any of those checks full scale.
Locke, unfortunately, finding tentacles, which are quite a rough early boss there for Kefka and Narsh. If you have running shoes or something, they're kind of a non-issue, but if you've only got 2 characters and you can't put out a lot of damage fast, they do I'm not sure how the damage is calculated, but it will be about 50 damage per tick if they get caught up by the tentacles there, which is likely. Jack seems to be having some trouble with that Fumbabo. He's got a dead Sabin and an almost dead Yeti.
I was going to say, if I'm doing my counts right, Jack at level 24 with his enemies and bosses. So, yeah, they're going to hit pretty darn hard right now.
Yeah, approximately level 24. But Locke is doing a pretty good job of dodging all those attacks that are attempting to entwine him. So he might get through this. We have seen a lot of really good defensive gear pop up, so I'm not sure what he's working with, but he has dodged essentially every physical attack made on him. And Jack actually electing to grind. Not something you see him do very often. And I don't know that that's the best fight you want to see when you're grinding. He hasn't been to a town yet, so he doesn't have Revivifies. And Locke gets through it, learning himself a level 2 and a level 3 spell, which will be helpful. Zelfer still grinding it out in Nash. And Boo about to take on the Ultros that Jack reset out of. See how that goes for him. And we see a Strago. So that opens up a few checks, but I'll be surprised if many of them come up early. Because peoples aren't a big fan.
Yeah, those checks can be kind of rough. I mean, the Burning House is all right because we don't have the 20% bosses mixed into any of the encounter sets, fortunately. But the Fanatics Tower can be rough, and obviously the mountain can be, well, a bit lengthy, really, trying to get all that coral.
Abbott's Rock I have come around on. I still hate doing it, but I recognize it's usually less than 2 minutes. I have had a 10-minute pass through there once, which was just the worst thing in the world. But generally, on average, you're going to take something like 1:50 to get through there.
Chad asking, what's up with the numbers on the trackers? The numbers are tracking the number of espers, characters, and dragons that the characters have to go after tonight. So the runners need at least 3 characters, at least 11 espers, and at least 5 dead dragons in order to complete the game and take out Kefka. So that's what that's tracking tonight. So you can see it essentially in progress.
Yeah, the characters and the espers are a barrier to entry for Kefka's Tower. The dragons you can fight right up until the point in Kefka's Tower where the goddess statue fights and the switches are. So you can kill 2 of the dragons in Kefka's Tower as part of your dragon killing requirement, and a lot of people tend to do that. Jack taking another pass at Funbaba here, as we see 2 people running through the Imperial camp, and Boo about to get himself an Esper. We'll see if he picks up the Ultima one. And now that Jack has no Umaro, he has to fight Umaro. It's turned on. And he doesn't have enough MP to cast Ultima, because he didn't heal. So this should be an interesting fight for him. Zelfer about to jump off a thing and fight an octopus.
Chad asking, did Zelfer finish the Imperial count? I'm seeing it completed. Not certain though. We'll have to see if we can peek in his Esper inventory and find out.
We did see him go there, and there were no issues that anyone else had through there. So yeah, I'm pretty sure it was just the one fight and he got out. And people asking in the chat, the basic non-standard flags today are 3 characters, 11 espers, 5 dragons required. They started with Terra and Sabin, which means people could have been going in much different ways, but mostly they've gone for the same fast checks. It is progress times 3 for the enemy scaling, and they are scaled element. which does throw a monkey wrench in the works in terms of, being able to for sure say how prepared you need to be for a battle. The dragons are scaled, so we might see people going for those early just to get the experience. Multi-summon is on, breakables are not purchasable, and the money is random for shop prices. Well,
yeah. I will say I'm honestly a little surprised that none of the runners have gone after any of the dragons yet, because 2 of them in the Opera House and in Ruined Narsh are pretty easily accessible.
Scrapham there has magic +2 on it. I just saw Merton on something else. These are beautiful espers. Beautiful espers all around. Only real issues anyone has come across is just too many octopuses.
I mean, hey, you can't beg off too much seafood, I suppose.
And we don't know how old those octopuses are. But we are now seeing our first major deviation from where other people have gone in terms of Jack going for the Yeti check and Locke going for the Zozo check. So we might see a bit of deviation starting up soon based on the results of these. I'm surprised we haven't seen Jack go for the Leet River yet, because he does tend to like the fixed encounters. He's one of the few people that will go for them deliberately early on, and he has not done that. There's a dragon. We'll see if he fights that. Probably take a save first, as indeed he is doing. And he is indeed going for that dragon, so we spoke a little bit too early on that. And it's the Skulldurgan, one of the least dangerous ones. Assuming you have more than one person in your party. Boo also heading to Zozo. Zelfer leaving Narsh, not having tried the Kefka at Narsh fight, as we have seen with everyone else except Locke. Oh, one person down on Jack, but Pearl Proc gonna help out a lot with that Jurgen.
It looks like it helped out plenty because we have a dead dragon.
Yay! And I did not. That was a muscle butt. And then he's got an Illumina. So he has a Ragnarok and an Illumina. If he can find a Genji glove, that's a nigh unkillable character.
I see Chad is complimenting Locke for suplexing the train, so...
Well, I mean, if he didn't, he would be kicked out of the tournament and the Discord immediately.
Yeah, fair.
I mean, there's just certain things you have to do. Well, yeah, always style points for that. And the Zozo reward is Gao. So we did see someone pick up a dried meat earlier. I think that was Boo. I can't recall if anyone else did. Let's see if Zelfer opts for the suplex. Going for the blitz. And there it is. One suplexed train. Boo just... Okay, there comes the presumable suplex. No! Boo aura-bolting the train. What a poor sport. Jack seems like he's going for another Jurgen.
And Locke has found Murder Child in the Veld.
Yep, so Locke has the major advantage in terms of characters.
It seems Boo is embracing his heel status because I think he's choosing to do every flip but suplex against this train.
Well, I don't approve of that. Jack finding a red Durgan when he has Ice 3, that's not going to be a terrible difficulty. And, yeah. Things are kind of even for 3 of the racers, and then kind of the opposite for Locke, who has found almost all characters and very few espers.
I think we just found Cyan in Esper Mountain.
Wow. So, yeah, just all the checks that he's done have been the checks that other people are looking for and failing to find. Jack has learned Merton and got a Genji shield. Not a fantastic reward, but not an awful one. So, we now have the Gao check about to be done by Boo with his 3-man party, or 2-man party in Terra. And there's some Mega Elixirs for sale in that town that Jack's at for 50k. That is quite a lot, but they are Mega Elixirs.
Ruined Albrook is, I suppose, in a sense, providing again.
Yep. Most of the great things we've seen for sale have been in Albrook. Boo fighting the terrible Lobo on the Veldt. We'll see if he gets... Ah, he won. Jack going back to Narsh here. I guess he's going for the Valley Garmanda Umaro checks. I'm not sure why he didn't do them when... Oh, no, he's just getting killed. Fair enough. I guess he did fight Tritok. And got a siren for it. Not sure how I missed an entire Guardian fight, but I guess I was looking somewhere else. And he's going? I guess he has Ultima and some other high-level spells, but Fanatic's Tower is an interesting choice, especially when he has just seen it isn't a character. He might just be going for dragons at this point, honestly.
I mean, that does make some sense, since you mentioned we do have the 2 dragons in Kefka's Tower, so if you get the 3rd dragon here in the Fanatic's Tower, you don't have to worry about, say, hunting for Edgar for the Ancient Castle, or trying to find for Thinking Cave.
Yeah, and at this point he might be thinking, well, I don't actually need more than 3 characters. I can just do the non-character checks and still be fine to go to KT. Gao has slots yet again. I mean, at least he has health, but also I'm pretty sure every racer has access to Cure 2 from one of those early Espers. So, not that useful. And we don't have Drew in the mix, so I don't think we're going to be seeing any attempts at Joker Doom, etc. There's that Alexander Esper being shown off with a Magic +2 and Fire 3 on it. Very, very nice. Jack fighting possibly the worst dragon in the game, the old Storm Durgan. And Locke has found Funbaba. And appears to be having some issues. 2 dead guys, but down it goes. Jack just pumping out the Ultimas. And so long, Storm Durgan. See what he gets for that. A Force Armor and an Aura Lance. And we know he has Dragoon Boots. I'm not sure if we've seen Drew do either of the things that have yielded Dragoon Boots yet, but I know he is a big, big fan of jumpers. And Jack going down the tower, so not electing to... Well, he doesn't even have Strago, does he? Huh. I think Locke's still the only one with Strago and Cyan, and we are now seeing the Doma leader check on that front. Apparently, he's not aware you get a free heal there.
Well, that's understandable. I was not really aware of that either. I think I saw a little bit of chatter about that very recently, but I wouldn't have known that myself otherwise.
Yeah, there's a few notable ones. That's one of them. The other one is just before the final boss in Magitech Factory. When you're on your way out, you get a free heal there. Those are the main two, I think, that matter.
Yeah, I was aware of the Magitech Factory check.
And it's a Flame Eater. That should go down fairly quickly at this point in the game. I was looking away, but based on chat, it seems like he's found yet another character. Bull breaking an ice shield to get through that from Baba fight more quickly, and Jack going to do his Leet River check, presumably. Apparently it is Go-Go at that leader check. So, yeah, all of the characters, none of the Espers. I guess in this seed, that's the opposite of what you actually want. So, you know, it's not going super well for him long term. Jack buying some tents for exorbitant prices. Bit of racketeering going on there. Gonna take an in-nap, something you rarely see outside of random price shops. But those tents do imply that he is going to do the Leet River and wants to be sure he can heal along the way. Ooh, still fighting it out with that from Baba. Probably go down soon. And this is the first, I think, Esper I've seen so far in the game. And we will probably see it a lot more because we do have the multi-Esper on, and Alexander's a fair... Oh, Flare getting tossed at him. That's that scale element showing up, and it is not nice. Down goes Realm. Locke finally getting to that Tizen check. That'll get him an Esper, and another one if he opts to purchase the one with Ultima on it, which he immediately noped out on. I do believe we saw him go to the World of Balance one earlier. And Jack finds some rats, which he runs away from. Ooh, has killed Baba and gained himself a Cyan. We are about to see Zelfer do a very similar thing. Hopefully with fewer flares being thrown at his face.
At asking if the World of Balance then is cheaper. Yes, it is at least half price. World of Balance then is, I believe, 22,000.
It was 27, and World of Ruin is 60 something. So yeah, half the price in World of Balance. But Jack,
yeah,
we did see pick up the World of Ruin one, having not been to the World of Balance, which may again be doing him a favor because he has Ultimate. And Locke might take a bit before he actually goes and remembers to get the World of Balance. And our other two runners, I believe, also checked World of Balance then, or at least they didn't buy the Esper in the World of Ruin. But we are seeing some Merton strats down there on Zelfer's screen. As I said, we have been given a lot of nice defensive things, and I did see Merton earlier, so I guess Zelfer has found a full set of gear. Merton, for those not aware, is a very high damage spell that hits everything on the screen, including your own party, for fire and wind damage. But if you can get fire and or wind negating or absorbing gear, it's a very effective way to kill enemies.
Yeah, Merton strats are definitely one of the more, I would say, I guess, advanced strats in a sense, because I certainly didn't know anything about them until I was watching some of the other runners running these seeds. It's if you have the equipment for it, it's definitely a lucrative strategy, but you've got to have the equipment for it. So it takes a little bit of an investment to pull off.
Yeah, the easiest, most basic way to do it is a bunch of red jackets or 4 elemental shields. And that plays off of the wind element. That it's like, if you're playing this game in vanilla, you don't know wind is an element. It's not something you're super going to be aware of. But if you have everyone wearing any elemental shield, Merton will either heal them or do no damage to them. Because you will either absorb fire, negate fire, or negate wind in some manner. So yeah, it's not a super obvious thing to do, and you can't do it in every scene. Ooh, finding a dragon horn, his most cherished of relics. I'm not sure he's found dragoon boots yet, but we'll see in a moment. Zelfer still plugging away at that, is that Tirado? I don't know that I've ever seen Tirado being cast. I would have to guess that was Tirado. But either way, it killed from that. And Jack finding a vanilla Ultras. Our favorite friend in this seed. And that Valley Garmandus is a guardian indeed. Jack receives for his troubles the Esper Maduin. And Boo has put the Dragon Horn on Cyan, who must have natural jump. Otherwise that doesn't make any sense. And yeah, it's just a whole lot of tentacles going on in this seed, and a whole lot of just really nice gear and espers being thrown around. Only problem Peoples is having is finding characters. I guess Boo's found a few, Zelfer's found a few, Locke's still leading the pack on that one. Jack's still on 3.
Yeah, I was about to say, Locke has definitely cornered the market on all the characters in the game so far.
Yeah, and while we're watching people do things that we've already seen done, we may as well say, hey, everyone go follow our runners. Yeah, and if you want to check out... maybe I should type that right. If you want to check out the randomizer, it's a lot of fun. There's the link. Come join our Discord. This is the end of this tournament. There will be 3 more races between the remaining people not eliminated after tonight. But we do have some other events like this in the works for the future. If you're interested in that, get on in the Discord or just come play a random game. It's a lot of fun, very welcoming. People will teach you a lot about it. If you have any questions, Boo noping out on that Go-Go immediately upon seeing him. And we're about to see if Zelfer does the same thing. Jack returning to his earlier defeated, his earlier place of defeat against Ultros. And I seem to have misspoken slightly. There will be 2 more races after this with 3 racers, and then 2 racers.
Yep, the way that things are going to go is the last finisher this evening is going to be eliminated, and we'll have another race with the top 3, and then the last runner on that one will be eliminated, and then we'll have the final match with the final 2 runners.
And the reason it says round 1 out of 4 on the title is that was a typo.
It happens to the best of us.
Yeah, and also in this case, just some random jackass. But there will be 2 more of these to be, once again, explicit. And then we always have our community races on Saturday, usually on Randomania, sometimes Randomania too. So that will be coming up on Saturday. I'm not sure we have specific dates for the remaining KGP battles. Those are kind of organized based on when the runners are available. So if you join the Discord, you'll get updates on that. Otherwise, might get put into the Randomania schedule at some point if that's the thing you look at.
Yep, keep an eye out for those races because I'm sure they'll be coming up fairly soon as the runners have the time. I will also mention, go ahead and follow everybody who is helping out with this. Lord Monty is doing the restreaming. Mildane is pushing all the buttons and keeping our heads on straight. And Mr. Entity, who is not a jackass, by the way, is...
I disagree heartily with that statement.
Oh, well, I mean, if you want to braid around, be my guest.
Nah. No, yeah. Go follow all the team. Except me. Probably not. Ooh, fighting a white dragon.
Fortunately, the white dragon does not have Jaxum on its back, so I think we can all feel good about slaying it as Boo has just done.
Mm-hmm. And Jack now fighting the Guardian, who I thought he had fought before, being as the reward was put into the tracking sheet, but apparently I was correct originally when I said, no, that's not a thing. And Locke fighting the Skulldurgan. We'll see if he also goes for that Valley Garmandus check. Boo about to do the free check at the top of Mount Zoza. We are seeing in the chat Fowls, the organizer of the Kefka Grand Prix, saying that race 2 might be on Wednesday, but he is not positive. So, yeah, it's basically organized when the racers are available. It has been an async race for all the other ones, so these live ones are a bit harder to set up. And Boo finding Setzer. And it looks like Zelfer's heading for Cyan's Dream. So that's going to open up some more checks for Boo, and a new place will be shown off there on Zelfer's screen in the near future. Locke picking up his Illumina from that Skulldurgan. And Jack finds the Esper that we knew was there. Siren and Zelfer about to fight some children. Awesome.
At least a boss in place of the children.
It is a Kefka. Not a terribly dangerous boss, especially when you can throw a million Mertens at him.
Well, looks like Zelfer's about to win the seed. GG, guys. Oh, wait, wrong Kefka. Crap.
Yeah, I can see how you'd make that mistake, though. I mean, they look identical.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like they need wings or anything. Nah.
Nah, it's not a Final Fantasy game. One of those Dragon Warrior games, I think. And nearly simultaneous drops to the Umaro check, which will yield yet another Magicite. Raiden in this case. Zelfer getting through that Kefka fight fairly easily, and it yields a remove. And we're about to see two leaders get the utter crap kicked out of them. I think Ultima might be slightly overkill there.
I mean, it looks like Umaro is doing all the killing by himself on Locke's screen.
Umaro is a quite useful character for a while. Especially when you're given some of the weapons that have been handed out in this seed. Oh, Jack doing the walkout. And Locke having a weird graphical glitch there. Not sure if people saw that.
What, the dancing glitchy Umaro?
No, there was some... That was a warpstone spin. There was a weird graphical thing on the bottom right, and the airship was all staticky.
Oh, I'm afraid I didn't quite catch that. I was in the direction of his screen, but somehow not quite at it.
Fair enough. So, Skulldurgan coming up here for Boo. I missed what the reward is for this second part of Cyan's Dream, but we'll find out soon enough anyway. An economizer there for Locke. I'm guessing Boo found that earlier. People tend to like those a lot. I personally generally sell them.
I mean, it's hard to resist the siren song of 1 MP everything.
Yeah, and it depends on the seed too, right? Like if you have Osmos, you have no need for it. But if you can't get anything to replenish your MP, you don't really have elixirs or mega elixirs or Osmos or whatever, they can be quite useful. Or if it's quite early in the seed, that is my favorite time to have.
Yeah, I can understand that.
So, we're about to see the boss here in Zelfer's screen, whilst Locke picks up his Setzer, and Boo heads towards his double Esper checks. Jack finds a ghost. Zelfer finds another leader. I wonder which one of them was in charge. Ooh, fighting the Guardian. I don't think we've seen any real bolt spells kicking around, so it's going to be throwing some fire, some flares, etc. I have not actually seen what Setzer's command is. It is Sword Tech, so might see Cyan's Dream coming out to make him a little more useful on that front, but there are enough spells that it's not really necessary. And here comes Zelfer's 2 rewards. Or sorry, I missed the first one, and the second one's a Dragonhorn.
The first one was Palador.
Another Esper. Jack takes out that Umaro. Revenge for last time. And is given for his trouble to Magicite Tritalk, which we knew from very near the start of the game when he tried that originally. Looks like Zelfer's also going to be running up towards the Dragon and the Valley Garmandus check, and the Umaro check. And Jack must be at the point where he's got to be starting to do checks that other people have gotten characters out of, because there's not much left for him to do. Valiant Knife on that dragon that's in the Storm Dragon spot. I believe it was a white dragon. I missed that when Boo killed it. That's quite a find.
Yeah, the Valiant Knife, honestly, is one that I didn't really know a whole lot about going into this randomizer, and then having run some of the weeks where folks in the post-game chat will be talking about it, well, needless to say, I came around to it pretty quickly.
Yeah, it looks like Jack's just going for an Esper, but I don't think there was one there. I think he was going to go for a 3-character Kefka's Tower. But the auction house has betrayed his plans. We did see him pick up a Warp Stone, so I'm not sure where he's intending to go with that. Probably Zozo, and indeed it is Zozo. And that will get him a character, which I believe is Gap. So yeah, we will finally be seeing Jack pick up some characters. It will be interesting to see whether he takes the Dried Meat check or the Serpent Trench. I don't think he's picked up Dried Meat, and he does like the Forced Encounter places, but it is a bit late for him to be trying that. Either way, he will have a 4th character for Kefka's Tower, which is, helpful. Ooh, taking out a leader. Being one shot, as one does. Jack finding a Man-Eater, and he does have Throw, so that's going to be a lot of damage to Final Kefka with that Throw command. Because he does count as a man. Similarly, if you find snipers, he also counts as flying, like a weird number of enemies in the game do.
I was going to say, I think throwing the man-eaters was an early strategy that we saw, I believe, from Jack, but I'm not certain exactly which character.
Oh, Jack's going to do a suplex because it's Jack. And suplex complete. The only person who is not getting those style points is Boo, so we all have some questions for him. And Piranhas in the Sky! Or Locke. I'm not sure if he did that deliberately. I was busy writing down that I have to question Boo about his very strange decision not to suplex the train.
Yeah, we'll have to let him know just how much of a heel he is whenever he comes into the interview.
Yeah, he should get involved in wrestling at this point. He's that big of a heel. And that expends all of my wrestling knowledge. You're welcome.
That's okay. The last time I watched wrestling in any real concentration was right around the time of Stone Cold and The Rock, so I'm a little behind the times too.
The last wrestling I watched was when Jack suplexed that train.
Touche.
Mm-hmm. Oh, there's Osmos learned for Boo, so yeah. There's so many nice spells kicking around. There's Life 2, there's Life 3, there's Osmos, there's a couple level 3 elemental spells, there's Merton, there's Ultima. Like, you couldn't ask for much better stuff. There's Cure 2 as well. Yeah, I don't see... Oh, there's the Man-Eater getting thrown for Locke. Not saving that for Kefka, apparently. Jack is trying to do the dried meat check here. And just to answer a question in chat, yes, new characters are joining at average level. That seems to have become a standard flag as soon as it was made available to the runners. So I generally don't even mention it anymore when I'm describing flags because I just regard it as the norm at this point. And it is very helpful and has changed the strategies up in a rather delicious manner in that you no longer are basically stuck with the first 4 characters you get. And Locke has found an offering, which for a Piranha battle is not that bad. And we know they have fixed dice. We know Valiant Knives are available. So that offering could be quite useful. Boo! Apparently just sitting in place for some reason. And Jack finds himself a realm. As Zelfer gets ready to fight himself a fight at the old marrow check. Boo! Don't know what's going on with him. Sometimes, you know, the bathroom beckons. But now he heads back and moving on through the dream. Kefka taking an ultimate to the face there on Locke's screen. Zelfer finishing up the Umaro check. And Jack about to get Cyan, or leave because he really just wants an Esper. Yeah, I think if Jack had been able to find... Yeah, he's going for the Serpent Trench. He just wants that Esper. If he had been able to find an Auction House Esper, I'm pretty sure we would have seen him try a 3-character Kefka's Town.
Yeah, that certainly seems to be the case. I am still a bit surprised that the auction house didn't have anything, as it can have, I believe, up to 2 Espers, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, it has up to 2, and it usually, like almost universally, I would say in my experience, has at least 1. But you do get the occasional seed where it just doesn't have any. And I don't know what the probabilities on that is, but it does happen. It's just not likely, as far as I can tell, based on my own experience.
Yeah, I think chat's mentioning it's the first time they've seen no espers in the auction house. I think same for me, actually.
Yeah, it's not super common, but it can happen. I'm sure Jack's seen that before, so he won't have been too disappointed. But he is the kind of person that will he would have tried it, and he would have either won spectacularly or lost horribly, and that's just how he plays the game. Meanwhile, we've seen Zelfer play a much more safe, let's say, seed than the others with that grinding at the start. The other two kind of just did whatever. Locke found a bunch of bosses that other people didn't early on, and so that's where he got his levels, and Boo just had a couple extra levels when he got to some of the places Jack had issues. But we are seeing Jack about to finish up the Serpent Trench here. We'll see if he gets his final Esper or not. I really did want to see the single Yeti going through Kefka's tower. It was very fun to watch.
I mean, considering he only has 5 characters, he could still put 2 in one party, 2 in a second, and have the Yeti go solo.
And just still deliberately leave the Yeti on his own. Boo also trying the auction house and finding out, as Jack did, that there's nothing he wants there. But he is selling a bunch of stuff, probably going to buy some items there at that item house. Zelfer about to get his Valiant Knife. And Locke about to fight the boss in Cyan's Dream. The second boss, that is. Which, as we have seen before, is Leader. And Jack finds a Magus Rod. Still not what he's looking for, but a very good endgame defensive weapon. Unfortunately, he got it from a somewhat long check.
Yeah, I kind of feel bad for Jack now. He has to feel a bit disappointed that a rather lengthy Serpent Trench ended up yielding, well, not quite what he was looking for.
We haven't seen anyone do Owzer's house yet. I would be somewhat surprised if he doesn't go there next. That's a fairly quick check. And I'm not sure what else is open to him at the moment. I guess he is going back for Cyan. Yeah, I'm not sure why he changed his mind on that, but Esper Mountain is a very quick check, so maybe he's hoping that Leader will get him the Esper he needs. Which it will not. It will get him Go-Go. A character I forgot was even available because we haven't seen anyone use him or do his check. But it looks like Locke will be going to check out Owzer's Mansion, unless he's just trying to buy Espers, as we have seen 2 other runners try to do. Collision yielding an economizer for Zelfer, which is slightly nicer than getting it from the Piranha Battle because it's a 2-second check. Locke neither going to Owzer's Mansion or the auction house. But instead going to Mobius. Boo, meanwhile, fighting those piranhas in the sky.
Well, I mean, it's not every day you see flying fish, so why not take them on?
I think everyone can make their own flying fish joke here. I'll leave that up to the audience. They love them a pun. Go to it, Final Fantasy VI community. Jack electing to take the long way out of Esper Mountain for some reason. Also, he has a warp stone.
Yeah, I was about to ask if he still had a warp stone. That's the only reason I could think of that he would take the long way out.
Yeah, he bought one deliberately. Oh no, wait, he would have used that in Zozo. Yeah, so that's done. And now he's going to find out that this has Go-Go, and he's going to be mad. Meanwhile, lots of flying fish getting various spells thrown at them on the left side of the screen. And Locke fighting Funbaba for the eventual Esper. I believe it was Tritop.
Yes, that's correct.
And Boo picking up his economizer. Oh, no, wait, that was the offering. Where was the other economizer?
The other economizer was in Mount Zozo.
Oh, right, it was the... yeah. So, that's where the offering is. So, at least one of those people has the Valiant Knife. We'll see if we have Valiant Knife strats getting thrown out at this point. Umaro there for Locke. Probably not going to put up much of a fight. And we'll see what random check Jack decides to do next. Is he going for Azur's Mansion? Seems that way. We have yet to see anybody go here, so it may yield his end game. It may not. He also may just want to buy tents, and this is a place that you can do that. You can see there he just sold a leather hat, which I'm pretty sure is the base hat a lot of people come with, for 30k, which shows you how ridiculous the prices of items can be when they're random. Not going to Azur's Mansion. Nobody wants to do Azur's Mansion. Jack is going to find himself a dead check. Unfortunate for him. But
unfortunate in that it's not going to get him the Esper, but it does get him a dragon.
To the extent that he needs one, he could just fight the 2 in KT.
Yeah, that's true. Just kind of, I guess, depends on what you're feeling.
Yeah, I mean, if I had to go here anyway, I would fight the dragon, but... Oh, we're seeing another person do Fanatic's Tower. We'll see if they actually go to the top, because Locke, I'm pretty sure, is still the only one who has Strago. Making use of the runaway there. And Jack skipping the dragon. He really, really just wants an Esper. And the game not helping him out.
Yeah, it's worth noting, chat mentioning Jack not going for the dragon. There are 2 in Kefka's Tower, as Entity was mentioning a moment ago. So since Jack already has his 3 taken down, he doesn't have to go after any others in the overworld. He can just take down those 2 in KT and pretty much be done with it.
Yep, Jack now has access to Setzer. We know Kalinjin is a dead check. So we hopefully see him do a Daryl's Tomb or Azur's House, because most other things are just going to get him another character. We haven't seen anyone do the Go-Go check either. It looks like Zelfer's about to pick up his last Esper here, so he needs to kill one more dragon and he will be ready for KT. Boo finally up. About to, rather. He is currently too poor to afford it. About to buy himself the Ultima Esper. And I did not see what Locke got at the top of the Fanatic's Tower, but he is about to... Oh, Jack doing the other dead Setzer check. And one that eats up a fair amount of time.
I will mention Locke got an ice shield out of the top of Fanatic's Tower.
Not bad. And then it's a number 24, which is not usually that big of an issue, but with scale element can be slightly tricky. Let's see, he has at 18. So that number 24 is approximately level 40. I was going to say 42, but I guess it only was to 40. I think enemies start throwing ultimate at you at level 42. So I don't think they have that capability, as the max scaling in this seat is 40. But either way, it's dead, and he's not going to care. And as Chad is saying, Boo has paid money to sleep at the inn, and as I mentioned way back at the start of this seed, random price shops is about the only time you'll see runners do that. Because it may take a bit longer, but it also generally saves you like $20,000. And you might need that $20,000 to buy one tonic. Okay, Boo apparently has 11 espers. Our tracker apparently missed something on that front. But we do have, aside from one dragon for Zelfer, 2 people are ready for KT. Zelfer probably going to... Ooh, maybe Zelfer is not aware that he has all the things he needs. That is unfortunate. That happened to me in a race a little while ago. I wound up with 8 and 11 when I only needed 7 and 10, and that was just because of tracker misclick.
Yeah, that's understandable. I mean, especially when you're in the heat of a race, it can definitely get confusing at times. So certainly nothing to criticize anybody about for sure.
No, and as our tracker is saying in chat, it is possible that he misclicked on one of them, but it's hard to tell. We'd need to see their menus and stuff. Boo found a cat hood there in one of the chests in Kefka's tower. That is one of the best hats in the game, because it's one of the hats that is good. One of the very small pool of hats that is good.
How very eloquently put.
Yep, Locke getting in his steps. Gotta do leg day someday. And Jack is doing Daryl's Tomb, as is Zelfer, apparently. There are still characters available, but let's hope for Jack's sake that it is an Esper. It is Locke, who at least grants a free check, but very much not what Jack is hoping for here. Boo making fairly quick work of Kefka's tower here. About to come up to the first boss, or my brain is... No, never mind. It'll be a minute.
Mildane, the Fanatic's reward was an ice shield.
Was that the reward, or what was in the box?
Well, that was what is in the box, sorry.
Yeah, the bottom reward was an Esper of some sort, I think.
Yeah, chat saying
chat says Phantom, yeah.
So, apologies. I always, because how KT or how Fanatic's Tower goes in vanilla, I always think of the reward as what's at the top, not what's at the bottom.
Yeah, that's fair. But you do technically get Strago there either way. I guess it's just now that's tied to actually killing the quote-unquote Magimaster. Boo fighting his first of the KT Dragons, a Skull Durgan, not a major problem. But, Jack just getting character after character at this point, and dead check after dead check. I don't think he's going to be very happy about this. And he is going for the free lock check. Let us see if it is what he requires. I have found this has a major tendency to be an Esper, even though I know it's an even split. But, you know, confirmation bias and small sample size, etc. And it is an Aegis Shield or a Magus Rod.
Oh no, denied again.
Jack's Jack's got himself like 20 minutes of pure chancelloring from the game. And it is on random bosses there, Logris Spike. So that means there are two variants. There is shuffle bosses, which means each boss can only appear once, and they're just kind of moved around. And there is random bosses, which means they just show up whenever. And that includes dragons, so they can repeat in this case, yes. We have seen, for example, many Ultroses and 2 leaders, and a couple Skulldurgans. 23 on that Cursed Shield, way too late for that high a number. That's too high a number for me at the start of a race.
I think
go ahead.
No, I was going to say, I think the only time I would take that high of a number for a Curse Shield is if I already had a ribbon on me, because then that would take care of most of the nastiness.
Yeah, I need a peace ring or a ribbon to even consider unlocking it most of the time, unless it's like 5. And Jack has completed another check, and gets Edgar, who at least has a free check. Oh, I'm gonna have to watch this back later and just count how many checks he's done. Because this is hilarious.
Yeah, I get the feeling that wherever Jack is, he is just raging. I mean, he has, I think, at count 9 characters now, whereas he was almost good to go with 3.
Yeah, he had 10 espers when he still had 3 characters, and he's done like 4 dead checks, so he's done like, there's his final esper. Hooray for Jack! 2 tentacle fights going on in the meantime. Did Locke go into Kefka's tower? I guess so. I was just looking at Jack and hoping for him.
Yeah, he did right around... He did a few minutes ago, I think.
Mm-hmm. Zelfer also choosing to do the Phoenix Cave, interestingly. One of the longer checks. Maybe he just really wants to kill that dragon. He does still need one. So at this rate, it seems like advantage to everyone but Zelfer. We're about to see all of them in Kefka's tower. Zelfer may still need to do another check after this one for his last esper he's looking for. We don't know what the reward here is yet. But Zelfer does have those extra levels from the start of the game that helped him catch up quite a bit for a while. So now, Jack's a little bit behind the other two in Kefka's tower, but mostly now it's a matter of how much damage they can output and how good their strategy is. And whether they've sent the right people in the right direction.
Yeah, it looks like we have twin Dirty Dragons. Locke just took his down, and Boo, well, now just took his down, so they're probably about 30 seconds behind.
Mm-hmm. Snow Muffler from that dragon. Very nice piece of armor. And, yeah. Dragon Seal broken for Boo. Locke still has to kill one more Durgan, I guess. They must have gone in a slightly different order there through Kefka's tower. And yeah, this is going to be a fairly close end for the top 3. And we'll have to see if Zelfer can catch up.
Just a little bit of chat mentioning things are neck and neck. It's neck and neck because it was essentially a saying taken from horse racing, whereas the horses would be, they would be right next to each other. So you saw it neck and neck next to each other. So
yep,
there you go.
That is accurate. I guess it's just a slightly more eloquent and nice sounding way of saying nose and nose. But horse heads come before the rest of the horse. So, yeah. What? It's another Skulldurgan. We've seen 3 leaders, 3 Skulldurgans, and
a partridge in a pear tree?
Nah, Christmas is over, dude.
Ah.
Yeah, unfortunate, I know. Some tentacles again, also. Lots of repeating bosses, and I think the only major difficult one we've seen so far has been the Guardian. Guardian is not usually a giant issue. Jack taking a reset. Not good for him, and based on his tendency to never save, we'll have to see how far back he just got shunted. Apparently 2 steps. Oh, and if we're going to be pedantic, chat, Christmas is supposed to be like 2 months long. So, it goes from Michaelmas until, or the other way around. There's 2 weird Christian holy days that it goes between, and there's like 2 months between them. And the rest of it is technically Christmas.
I mean, if you want to be really formal about it, if you're talking about in the Latin American world, there's still 3 Kings Day coming up.
I've never heard of that, but I did just see Boole pick up a chest I did not know existed. He found a true knight, which is, not gonna be... Jack just reset again! Apparently, he's having some difficulty with this. And Boo just found another octopus and killed it. Yeah, this is, it's all repeats. I can make a UK television joke here, but I think most of the audience would not get it.
Well, unfortunately, chat mentioning that Zelfer took another dead check out of the Phoenix Cave, so he got his dragon, but sadly did not get the Esper he was looking for.
And this leader will get him Edgar, and if he's smart, he'll go to Figaro, and that will get him the Esper he requires. Locked, 2 switches pushed. Jack seemingly still plugging away at that dragon. Boo, 1 of the final switches pushed. And Locke about to enter the goddess section. I did see Jack do this earlier, but both Zelfer and Jack moved their airship lightly. And I'm not sure it actually saves any time versus just walking the couple extra steps from the exit of the Tunnel Armor Cave to Figaro. And they both went to different places as well, so that's a bit odd. There's another Kefka getting killed on Boo's screen. This has been like 6 bosses in the whole game.
I mean, as long as they're not the Warring Triad or Atmas, I'd say I'm pretty happy about that.
Yeah, although all the Ultroses at the start did not help anyone. Jack fighting some tentacles, Locke getting through that Guardian spot, and Zelfer, unless he stops, is he going to fight another dragon? I guess so. Zelfer making slightly odd and seemingly inoptimal choices, which is not something I expect from him. But, sometimes when you're racing, the pressure's on. Especially when you're at the end of a tournament like this, sometimes you make mistakes you wouldn't otherwise. And maybe he just thinks it'll be faster. And maybe it will be. Hard to tell. Doulahan there on Boo's screen. And Jack getting a Dirt Durgan. Surviving the Quake. And just throwing out Ultimas, as he has been doing for a fair chunk of the game. And I know Jack doesn't really like Ultima because it's kind of slow, but it's also super powerful. So sometimes that's just what happens. Ultima turns out to be the best choice. Ah yes, we shall have to ask Zelfer about his Merton strats. We have not seen anyone else pull them out. And is Zelfer going to KT? No, he is going for the 5th dragon. I guess he must be going for experience on these, because I can't think of... I guess they're slightly more dangerous, too, when you don't have a full party, but... You know, it's going to be a 3-character split down each of the lanes. But it looks like Boo is about to get into a fight with the laughing harlequin himself, Kefka. Meanwhile, Jack about to get to the switches leading to the Guardian fights. And Locke close behind Boo there as well. Still has 1 statue left to do. And, yeah, Jack about to push the 3rd switch, so depending on how this goes for Boo, I'm pretty sure he's going to win out on the 1st place here, but 2nd and 3rd are pretty in contention. And something could still always go wrong during Final Kefka for people, so you never actually know how these races are going to turn out till they're done.
Yeah, it seems like Boo has a pretty solid plan, at least in his mind, because he, out of the 7 characters he brought in, he only brought 4 into the Final Kefka fight, so he's counting on being able to take out these stages quickly and without losing anybody on the side.
Well, actually, the characters you pick, you're just picking the order of the characters. If you leave any out, you're just saying, and then pick at random. You still get all the characters.
Ah, interesting. I was not aware of that part.
It saves a little time if you really only care about the first few. It's just one of those things that is not inherently obvious from the way the game presents itself.
Yeah, that's fair.
And that's the thing this game does here and there. It just goes, yeah, and by the way, this is a thing that you'll never know unless you look it up in a guide or someone else tells you, or you play the game a million times. Jack taking on another Ultros as Boo moves into Tier 2. He's got his cleave and a jumper, and is going pretty quickly for him. Locke up just behind him, getting into the Kefka fight now. And seems like Zelfer is finally taking the leap into Kefka's tower. You know, so 10-15 minutes behind everyone else, but you know, one bad Tier 2 or Tier 3 can cost you quite a significant chunk, so. And Zelfer also doesn't have to kill the dragons on the way.
Yeah, I will say congratulations, Moondock, on beating this game for the first time. It is a fantastic game, and I'm glad that you got to have that experience.
It is my favorite Final Fantasy, and if you're interested in, you know, playing a randomized version of it, then there's a link to our Discord and to the website for the rando. It's a lot of fun. It's a great way to play the game after you've already beaten it in vanilla. And while we're at it here, everybody go follow our lovely racers. They've given us a good show tonight. Fairly close here at the end. Zelfer a little bit behind, but you never know what's going to happen. And, you know, go follow our restream team if you feel like it. Mildane and Carant. Not quite the first time for Carant, but Mildane is first time tracking, doing a great job. Carant doing a good job on the commentary for nearly the first time, and I'm also here. And don't forget about Lord Monty, our restreamer, doing stuff in the background like Mildane.
And Mr. Entity's short selling himself, but he is the big commentator here. I'm just trying to keep up with all the action, so definitely go follow him as well.
I am pretty short, so that's usually how I sell myself. And that's what we in the industry call a joke that is bad. And dead silence is exactly the correct response. More Ultimas from Jack. Boo moving up to tier 3. Luck moving up to tier 2. And Zelfer fiddling with his inventory. Now, we do not have the normalized stats on today. So, Girl there at the top of tier 3 does only have about 10k health. Easy to take out. And, yeah, Boo should be getting through this pretty handily, as long as he has brought some variety of protection for calmness. And yeah. Jack making his way through another boss.
The chat has been mentioning just how quickly Boo has been flying through this final set so far, and is already to the calmness stage. So looks like it's time for Boo to take on the Mad Angel himself.
Yeah, down a Cyan, but he's been pushing out damage really fast. Just unfortunate that he lost his jumper, because now he will be a sad Boo. And we will see now that that Cyan will be replaced with a random character from the other selection, in this case 7. Jack moving on to Kefka. So yeah, unless Locke or Jack take a wipe to Kefka, it does look like Zelfer will be the last of our 4 today. But he has put up a solid race. It was just kind of like Jack right until the end. Just doing checks that did not help him in any way. He was in the lead for a while, and then Boo just kind of took over. We had 2 racers essentially do 10 to 15 minutes of nothing today, which is unfortunate. And now Boo just counts to 60,000. Tanks a hyperdrive. And there's his Beyond Chaos. And this will probably be the end of Kefka. We shall see momentarily. Boo is indeed. Okay, there it is. Boo is our first place finisher today with a time of 1:32.20. We'll see if we can get him in for a quick interview while these other 2 racers finish up their Kefka fight.
Yes, definitely GG to Boo, and congratulations on first place.
Yep, just showing all of our racers an hour 30-something moving into Kefka. An hour 30 used to be like the good time to be. And Boo is joining us here in the booth now. Congratulations, sir.
Hello, and thank you.
So, how did you feel that went for you?
Well, kind of swimmingly, up until I started not getting any espers for a long time, and then the very last thing I checked was the Zen guy that I remembered I forgot to buy in the first place, and he had Ultima on him, and I was thinking, well, crap. But might have been a blessing in disguise, because Ultima's kind of slow, and I had no problem killing anything, so...
Yeah, Jack's the only one that picked up that early Ultima, and he's been casting it all game.
Yeah. I was a little sad that I'd probably... Well, I could have put it on the Murder Child, but then I put it on the wrong person. I don't know, I kind of tilted when I was like, crap. And then I started doing things wrong, and then I said, you know what, I don't need it. So I just moved on, and I finally got it on Terra. I think I only cast it, twice, so...
Well, you were still putting out damage real fast there at the end, so I don't think it did you that much damage.
I was sad I lost my Valiant Knife jumper there at the end. He's the only one who really could have put up big spike damage, and I like my Dragoons, but...
Yeah, I knew that was going to make you sad.
Say love to you.
Everyone does have one big pressing question for you, though.
What's up?
How dare you not suplex the train?
Oh, you know what? So I've said this in Discord, but for those of you watching at home, I've never suplexed a train in my life. I've been playing this game for like 25 years or whatever. I don't even know the suplex blitz input. Honestly, I think it's like X, Y, down, up, or something like that.
That is correct.
Okay, so I could have done it, but I didn't want to risk losing a turn, and also I always forget that I can do that because I don't ever do it. So I'm not sorry. I don't care.
It did seem like you were doing every other possible blitz, just shove it in people's faces.
Yeah, I was. Well, I had to go back and look up the flags real quick because I couldn't remember if the undead flag was turned on for this set. And then that, it got me a little off track. But that was an unintentional pun. Off track for the train.
Ha!
You're welcome.
That's a joke.
Hard.
I get jokes.
Sometimes.
Oh yeah, well, as soon as they're pointed out to me.
But yeah, I mean, it went pretty good. I was thinking it was going super fast halfway through, and then I got to like 45 minutes in, or maybe close to an hour in, and I was still only like 5 or 6 espers, just thinking, where are they? And
yeah,
then I had
just be glad you aren't Jack. He was at 11 espers, 3 characters, and went to the auction house and was clearly going to try for a 3-character Kefka's Tower, and then spent the next 20-odd minutes looking for 1 esper.
When he already had them? Like he had enough?
He had
10.
He had 10.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I was finding character, like I left Go-Go behind. I was just, by the time I found Cyan, I was thinking about just leaving him there, but I was running out of checks, so I'm glad I put in the time to grab him. But really, my plan was to, go to the auction house, check calling in, do the search the skies, and none of them were espers, so that was rough. But anyway, it worked out.
Locke has finished up here, so you got any final thoughts before we drag him in?
Nope. We're gonna have a powerhouse dropping out this week. It looks like either way, so that's exciting for me.
Yeah, Zelfer had some issues towards the end. Everyone kind of had a stutter towards the end there, but GG's, man.
Cool. All right, thanks a lot.
GG. See you in the next one.
Thanks. See you later.
So Locke has finished with an official time of 1:36:22. So just 4 minutes behind Boo. Not a bad time at all. Jack coming up the rear behind him. Probably could have found a better phrase than that. But we'll drag Locke on in here and have a chat with him. Hello, Locke. GG's.
Hello. Thank you. That was ooh. That's all I can say.
Which I wasn't sure where you were going to place in that for the first 30 minutes or so when you had just all the characters in the world.
I had 9 characters?
Yeah, you had 9 characters whilst Jack was sitting on 10 espers and 3 characters.
There's so many characters. I just kept going to the characters. I don't know what happened there.
Yeah, so the first part of that didn't seem to go great for you. How do you feel about catching up there at the end to get second place?
I'm amazed, actually. I'm actually really amazed. I guess my switch to Setzer really paid off there.
Yeah, and unlike Boo, you actually suplexed the train, so style points to you on that one.
I had to. I saw the train, I'm like, I got suplex, I'm gonna do it.
That is the correct response, sir. Well, yeah, good job on that one, man. We spent a long time going, well, like Locke's doing too great. And then you came right back out, and 4 minutes behind Boo, not bad at all.
Yeah, I'll take that. I will definitely take that.
Yeah, so how'd you feel about the flags tonight?
I actually really like these flags. These flags were a lot of fun.
Yeah, the Terra Sabin start gave people a lot of differences.
Yeah, I imagine. I imagine people still probably went to Sealed Cave first just for all the loot, but
the first few checks were pretty similar. I think the main thing you did that other people did towards the start was Kefka Nourish.
Yeah, I figured it's a character. I'm there. Why not?
Yeah, but we did start to see some major differences after that. But yeah, with the 2 characters with the most checks in the game available at the start, we did see some diversion. But at the start, like you said, Sealed Cave is you're just going there. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, pretty much. Because I mean, when you need items, and there's a lot of items there. Because I think we got a Ragnarok there, a Pearl Lance, some other good stuff. You don't want to pass that up.
Oh yeah, there were so many nice treasures all over the place. So many spells that were great. Like aside from you getting all those characters and Jack running around for 20 minutes looking for any character, sorry, for one Esper, only getting characters. It seemed like the seed was pretty generous to people.
Yeah. I mean, when you get an Esper that you can get early on, like within the first 5 minutes, that has magic power and Ultima.
Yeah, Jack was the only one that picked that up for quite a while.
Yeah, I was thinking about it, but I'm like, progress times 3. I don't want to make anything too strong. And then when I picked it up, I'm like, oh.
Yeah, but we just interviewed Boo, and that's what he said. It was like the last Esper he got, and he was just like,
Yeah, I'm glad I at least picked it up 40 minutes in, so I could use the Ultima.
Yeah, and the magic power isn't going to hurt either. Anyway,
Right.
We got Jack just about to finish up his Kefka fight here, probably. You got any final thoughts for us today?
Nope, that's everything. I'm happy to be in top 3. Hopefully this next seed's gonna be kind. I'm scared of it. I'm really scared of it.
You're actually a person I can ask this. I'm not aware of the specifics of this, but do you know when the next one is?
I think we said... I can look real quick.
All right. Just because we had a perhaps Wednesday from Fals, and that's the only... Boo is also saying tentatively Wednesday, so I'm guessing that's
Yeah,
it.
probably Wednesday then.
Okay,
That's
so...
what we see here, Wednesday. And then the finals looks like the 3rd, so we're going to do it all kind of just back-to-back almost.
All right, perfect. Well, GG's again, man. Looking forward to see you in the next one.
Yeah, thank you very much. And thank you everyone for the restream and the commentators. I appreciate it.
Oh, no problem. GG.
Yeah, and we are seeing Jack taking a goner. Zelfer has gotten to tier 2 whilst we were talking there. Jack taking a train, that's not going to be helpful. Well, we do have our final 2 runners in the near future finishing, so I'll just go ahead and give those links as we do to our runners that everyone should go follow, to our Discord that everyone should go join, and begrudgingly to me because I'm in there with other people. But it's been a good race, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. I've enjoyed this very much, and it's, as we were mentioning at the Open, these are the 4 best runners in the contest as Jack finishes off Kefka. So GG, Jack.
Yeah, we'll see if we can get him in for an interview here. And presumably the answer is yes. Which just leaves Zelfer finishing up his final Kefka fight. Jack, final time of 1:42.17. So, basically 10-minute spread, maybe another 4 or 5 minutes for Zelfer to finish up. So, you know, this is what you get when you have the top runners doing a pretty unconventional seed. That obviously had some starting issues, some issues in the middle, but they're all, you know, pretty good times.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, even though Zelfer is going to finish 4th and as a result will be out of the Worlds Collide Kefka Grand Prix, it's definitely nothing to be ashamed of. All of these times are really good and all of these runners are top-notch. So certainly nothing at all to be ashamed of from any of these runners.
No, absolutely not. And in this kind of group of people, you make 1 or 2 mistakes, you're going to lose. So, you know, if you're top 4 out of 40-odd people, you're still doing pretty well. Just waiting for Jack here to join in on the voice call as Zelfer moves into tier 3. And we did see him putting out huge amounts of damage, just 10k to everything in tier 2 at once with his ultimas or whatever he was throwing. So probably not going to have too much issue finishing it off. Actually, none of our Razors really had any issue with Final Kefka today. They kind of all pretty much breezed through it. Jack had a bit of trouble with his health towards the end. But other than that, I didn't see anyone really struggle at all.
Yeah, that's one of the benefits of the way that these to some degree, the way the flag's set up is because everything was progress times 3 except Final Kefka. So with the experience that they were getting from having to go after all those dragons and then, of course, all the bosses in their checks, that yields a pretty powerful party. And when you get a party that powerful up to Kefka, it's going to be not as hard as one might expect, as these runners have shown tonight.
Yeah, and also they were given a lot of spells near the start. There were a few Espers with magic pluses on them. You know, it was all around pretty generous, aside from, you know, it seemed to be a lot of character checks. And we are joined in the booth now by Jack, as I tell our restreamer to maybe turn off that ad in Jack's stream there. Welcome, Jack, GG. You may be on push to talk.
I'll also sneak a GG in for Jack while we're getting all that ironed out.
Well, looks like Zelfer's on to Final Kefka. And probably won't have much issue there.
Here it is. Sorry about that. I couldn't find my microphone.
Well, welcome to the talking thing.
Thank you for welcoming me to the talking thing.
Yeah, you finished, I guess.
I did.
Good job on that.
Thank you. How about that, 40-minute one Esper hunt, huh?
Oh, I felt simultaneously awful for you, and all of my booze had finally fixed it.
Yeah, it was kind of interesting because I did have a couple of game overs early on, but that tends to happen in this rando. But yeah, at the 40-minute mark, I had the 3 characters, 10 Espers, and 3 dragons slain, and it's just I just need one more Esper, this might be a, sub 110 here. Let's go. And I mean, I was totally willing to, send Umaro by himself down path 1.
Yeah, we saw you go to the auction house, and everyone was like, is he really going to send Umaro as a single character? And I guess that was...
I totally would have.
And in this seed, it totally would have worked, because there was nothing bad almost anywhere in the game, but especially in
pretty much, yeah. It was just a whole bunch of Ultroses for the most part.
Yeah, there were 6 Ultroses, there were 3 leaders, there was several others. There was so much repeat.
I think I only found 2 leaders, actually. But yeah, I was totally willing to send Umaro solo, but there were no Espers at the auction house, so it's okay, now I know I need a character to unlock more checks. And then I found 6 characters before I found my last Esper.
Yeah, I was simultaneously laughing at and commiserating with you during that.
Perfect.
But
yeah, in terms of overall difficulty, I mean, you got a seed where you start with Best Girl and Savin, 2 of the better characters in the randomizer typically. And well, you had Throw and Blitz, so you had the good offensive secondary skills, so it's not like the combat was too tough early on. I mean, I died a couple times, but that's just because I was kind of
you were doing standard
reaching my bounds a little bit there. Yeah. And then the moment I took like a minute and a half to fight one battle to learn the times 16 ultimate spell on Terra, after that it was just yeah, this is super easy. So it's just
the first 3 or 4 boss battles most people did were all Ultros, so the levels were way up there.
Yeah, there was a lot of Ultros 1s early on, at least the way I did it.
Most people fought Ultros twice, and then you fought a 3rd Ultros and died. And then you went, well, I better get some levels then.
Yeah. Well, I reset out of the Ultros 2 fight at Mount Colts my first time because he switched positions, and when he does that, his health
comes back.
Yeah, so I'm okay, I can't do enough damage to kill him in one cycle, so I'll come back to this later, basically.
Yeah, well, we got Zelfer finished up here, so you got any final thoughts for the night?
This was a pretty fun seed. I'm happy to still be alive for the next race, final 3 kind of thing. Hoping I'll find what I need a little quicker next time so I don't get eliminated, because, getting eliminated is bad if Extreme Elimination Challenge has taught us anything. And also, let's go Bruins!
Extreme Elimination Challenge just sounds like a bad poo. But, thank you, Jack. Let us drag Zelfer on in here.
GG's, Jack.
Good evening, Zelfer.
Good evening.
GG's, and sorry that you're gone.
Well, it had to happen at some point.
Yeah, and I mean, still top 4 in a cohort of 40-something people is pretty good.
I am extremely happy with that. That was the goal. We got it. We can walk away happy. It's good.
All right, and how do you feel that went for you? Because you seem to be in the lead for a while there.
Really? Well,
I
it seemed okay right up until I needed to find some magicite. But
yeah. Well, Jack spent like 30 minutes looking for one Esper, so don't feel bad on that.
I understand that pain. As soon as I went to the auction house and it said, no, there's no Espers here, I knew
Yeah.
I was going to be in trouble.
Yeah, but how'd you feel about the tournament on the whole?
The tournament was a lot of fun. We got to see a lot of different flags. We got to test out a lot of different combinations. That part was really fun. 8 weeks was a long time. Yeah, I think 8 weeks was kind of a long time. I think people were starting to get tired by the end of it, but other than that, it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you there. It ran a bit long for me, but this is only the second one. We're still working out little teething issues and format stuff. So, I enjoyed it.
Right, exactly. It was a lot of fun, and for a second tournament ever hosted by us, this was pretty good. This was a really good one, actually. So we're just gonna learn from this and make even better ones in the future.
Yeah, well, I mean, you got in the top 4. I don't think anybody was expecting you not to get there. Unfortunately, you did get knocked out in the first of these elimination rounds, but, overall, good job, man.
Thank you very much. Much appreciated.
All right, you got any final thoughts on the tournament or today's seed?
Not really. Just thank you to Atma as always. Thank you to you guys for all the behind-the-scenes stuff. Everything's great. That's it.
All right. Well, commiserations and congratulations, man.
Thank you very much.
I just remembered the most important thing.
Jack's still here.
I suplexed the train. I suplexed
the only person that didn't suplex the train was Boo, and apparently he refused to. And did every other blitz he had.
Well, then karma strikes in weird ways, so Boo's probably getting eliminated. Wednesday night is when we're doing the next race.
Yeah, we have a tentative Wednesday. I'm guessing same 7 p.m. time.
Yep, that's what's listed on the site.
Yeah, that's what it looks like right now. Yep.
Okay, well, everybody in the chat, make sure to tune into that. Just go follow our streamers and stuff. And someone did thank Atma, but I will thank Atma again because he doesn't get thanked enough. And yeah, come on, join in. You got any last things to say there, Karan?
Not particularly. Just GG to all the runners. GG to Zelfer, and sorry that you're having to leave the tournament at this stage, but it's definitely been a great one. I agree, as being one of the very last runners to sneak into the tournament. I've definitely enjoyed it as well, and I hope you guys have too. So definitely GG, and I'm looking forward to Wednesday evening to see how the top 3 do.
Absolutely. So again, go follow Jackamus Wedge, Luck Cold Live, Zelfer85, Boo the Runner. Thank you to my co-commentator here, Karant. Good job to Mildane and Lord Monty in the background for the tracking and restreaming respectively. Thank you again to Atma. And not next Wednesday. Wednesday, there will be the next round of these, probably. And that'll be 7 p.m. Eastern. And then on Saturday, we also have our standard weekly community race here on Randomania, also at 7 p.m. Eastern. If anybody feels like tuning in for those, come on by. They're usually a lot of fun. But I think that'll be it for us for tonight. So thanks, everyone, for stopping by. Thanks again to everyone who participated. And, we'll see you in the next time.